Hey loves, you are going to spend Valentine's Day with your specific person because you are doing so much better than you could ever imagine in your manifestation. Because remember, Neville Goddard said consciousness is the resurrecting power, resurrecting that which man is conscious of being. Man is ever out picturing that which he is conscious of being. This is the truth that makes man free, for man is always self imprisoned or self freed. So just remember, you're doing fantastic. And this conception or understanding that thinking upon your specific person manifestation as successful, that actually brings and manifests more success. So if you understand you're successful right here and right now, you have self-freed yourself in the name of Neville Goddard. But if you are working against yourself, then you contain this self-imprisonment. And we're actually going to cover this idea through something called the gap and the gain. But just remember, you are doing way better than you could ever imagine, and I'm going to prove it in this video. So the first thing I want to kind of dive into, again with the idea that success brings more success. When you assume and imagine that everything is going perfect, you create more of that. And so again, I talked about the gap and the gain, so I'm going to bring that up now. So this is what the gap looks like, and I'm going to show you a picture of it right here, and I'm going to look at it on my iPad. But this is the gap. So the gap is when we're focusing on what we don't want. Okay, as you can see in the picture, we have the start, we have some sort of success, and then our goal with it, which is being with our specific person, marriage, a relationship, whatever that is. And so the gap is focusing on what we don't want or don't have. And as you can see, then we receive this success, whether it's a text, a phone call, a date, whatever it is, and we're comparing that to our end goal. So it's basically measuring where you feel you currently are to where you should be. And anytime you ever say the word should, you want to stay away from that sentence, because when you say should, it implies that you are doing poorly, when in reality, you're doing fantastic. But how does it feel to receive a text message and then be like, well, that's not a date or that's not a phone call. I could be doing better. I should be doing better. How does that feel? And you're gonna say, well, it feels bad. It feels sad and it feels depressing, right? All of these negative things. So how do you think that's going to affect our future manifestations? Okay, but again, it's focusing on, if we are in the gap, we're focusing on what we don't want and what we don't have. And in previous videos, I would talk about this concept, and Neville Goddard said, do not say but. Anytime you say but after a success story, you are totally negating it, and you're totally getting rid of this awesome success that you are having and living at that current moment. Because you can always say but to everything. You can get a text, but it's not a phone call. You can get a phone call, but it's not a date. You can get a date, but it's not a relationship. You can get a relationship, but it's not marriage. You can have a marriage, but it's not kids, right? I could literally go on forever. You could always not feel enough. Basically measuring yourself against like the horizon or the ideal. And that's like what our goal is. Obviously, you're going to create and get there. But don't forget that focusing on the gap does not help us, because everything happens or shows through a bridge of events, right? I'm going back to that Neville Goddard quote. Consciousness is the resurrecting power, resurrecting that which man is conscious of being. So if you are assuming yourself to be this success, that's what's going to show up in your reality. And if you're assuming the opposite, then that's what's going to show up in your reality. You're self-imprisoning yourself, or you are self-freeing yourself. You're self-freed or self-imprisoned based on those concepts. But instead, what if, because I mentioned the gap and the gain, what if we focused on something else? So now on the screen, I have a picture of when we are in the gain. And the gain is focusing on what you do have. So as you can see in the picture, like our starting point, again, is where we're at. And we have this success, right? And that's like a text, a phone call, any sort of success with your specific person, seeing signs on the street, literally anything. And we're measuring that to where we were as compared to the ideal. And so if yesterday you didn't have a text message and today you do have a text message, that's a success, right? And when we're in the gap, or the gain, we're focusing on what we have and what we received. Because as I know I keep quoting Neville Goddard, but we all know every single manifestation, every single goal is always going to come to us through that bridge of events, meaning that it is going to show up in a sequence that makes sense. So you would get a text or a call or a date or whatever it is leading you to the marriage, the relationship, if that's what you are assuming it to be. But as you can see, how do you feel when instead you're focusing on what you do have and what you are gaining, right? That feels very good, very happy, very powerful, very positive, very abundant. We feel very, very good. And again, I want you to think about how is that going to impact our consciousness and our assumption on ourself and our specific person. If you're happy about getting a text message, you get more of those. And I'll explain that way much further in detail with something called the structure of experience. But when you celebrate successes, you get more. And I've actually had some people kind of comment sometimes on my videos, like someone was like, text isn't the end. That's not a success because I'm looking for marriage or looking for a relationship. Well, yes. And I want to help you get there. You are going to be there 100%. And the trick is we then need to get into that assumption right here and right now. So if you get a text and you think I'm doing horrible, again, what does that do to your state? It lessens it. It destroys it. It keeps you from that feeling. Because if you're waiting until your specific person is married to you to feel married, and you feel like a failure up until then, it's not going to it's not going to put you into the state. Remember, consciousness is that resurrecting power. I know I keep going back to it, but it's so, so important. And I wanted to throw in another quote that I actually meant to put in earlier, but I'll put in now. So remember also from A Course in Miracles, it mentions to concentrate on error is only a further error. Okay. And I told you guys that from the beginning, that never undo a state. Only focus on that which you want, because your mind is creating these assumptions are causing your reality to reflect that outside of you. So if you're focusing on failure where you are not and where you should be, how do you think that's going to make you feel? You are not going to be feeling very good. And I'll show you exactly how to do this, because you may be thinking as well, yeah, but Kyle, every time I receive a text, I always think I don't have a choice, right? I just automatically feel like I should be somewhere else. Well, again, it is the focus, but we're going to go into something now called the structure of experience. And I actually have another little thing that I made that I can put up. So this is the structure of experience. So everything we do, everything we experience, every assumption we create and belief we create is based upon this experience. And as you can see at the top, we have this stimulus, okay? And then to the right going down, we then give meaning to something that happened. So stimulus just is a fancy word for something happening outside of you. You receive information of some sort, whether it be a text, a call, whatever, talking, anything outside of you that you're experiencing is a stimulus, right? Seeing something, hearing something, tasting, feeling, and smelling something, that's all a stimulus. And as you can see, once we get that stimulus, then it moves over into meaning, which means we are applying some sort of meaning on this. So what does this mean? Is this good? Is this bad? Is this safe? Is this dangerous? Is this abundant, right? We're placing that meaning upon it because, again, you hold the power to create any value on anything. Nothing has meaning. And I know you guys aren't going to believe me, but everything is inherently positive and great and abundant as it is. But then you can see what happens after the meaning. So once you see something and then once you apply the meaning, what happens? Then after that point, we only then get a feeling. So that's like feeling sad, happy, bad, angry, abundant, positive. That's when we feel that. But again, as you can see, it is only after we have created meaning. So, with this understanding, we are constantly in control of the way we are feeling based upon the meaning that we are putting on it. And then, as you can see, the last part of it is after we feel something, we react. And then this causes either support of the original stimulus in whatever meaning we had, and then we continuously cycle through that, which can be a good thing or a not so good thing. But I want to really, I know I keep pointing this out, but look at how meaning comes before feeling. So when you are thinking upon something like a text or a call, and you're like, I can't just get out of it. How do I get out of the gap and go into the gain, right? The feeling of focusing on good things rather than negative things. But it all has to do with the meaning that we're placing upon it. So you're placing this text or this call or whatever as good or bad based on being in the gap or the gain. And so we can then choose whatever we want, and then we're going to get into a feeling. I'll give you examples of what this means in like the gain experience and the gap experience. So first we're going to go into the gain experience and still looking at, and I'm going to keep this up because I want to make sure I can't see it hovering in the air right now. So I have to look on my iPad, but let's say the gain experience. So in both situations, we're going to receive a text from our specific person. It literally does not matter what the text is. If we are going for manifesting a relationship, then receiving communication is always good because it's leading us to where we want to go. So let's say we receive this text and we're in the gain experience. Then we're going to say the meaning of what, again, the stimulus is we receive the text. The meaning can be, this is a bridge of events. This is perfect. I'm on the perfect path. And how does that feel? When you state that, I'm on the bridge of events, everything is happening perfectly. How do you feel when you state that? Really good, really positive, right? Abundant, right? You feel great. So what does this do to your state then? This is going to increase your state. So your then reaction is going to respond abundantly. So if you receive the text, you're like, this is a bridge of events. You feel good. You respond abundantly, saying something positive, awesome, amazing back to them. Or you just continue your day feeling really, really good. And then you have set in motion a positive stimulus for these text messages. And then you're just instantly forever going to feel good doing that. Okay? But this, as you know, as you can see in how this would feel, increases your state, increases your abundance. So what do you think is going to happen with communication? It increases. And I know it sounds strange, and we'll talk about in the gap experience in the opposite, but it's going to increase communication. So by seeing something from your specific person, no matter what it is, and thinking this is the bridge of events, this is awesome, you are going to get more communication because your state is abundant. So everything you do, all the divine guidance wants to align with that state. But let's say we're in the gap experience. Let's say we're not having a good day at all. And we receive the same text, the exact same text. You can pick any text, any outcome you want, put that on as the stimulus, okay? Then what meaning do we put on it if we are in the gap experience? We're going to say, well, this isn't a relationship. This is not working out. This is just bad. Like, okay, whatever. They texted me that they love me. Who cares? They don't have a ring on my finger, right? We could easily get into that. How does that feel? And now, based on the meaning, how does that feel? We'd say it feels bad, right? It feels really, really bad. And how do you respond or react based on that bad feeling? Also, negatively, you're going to say, something because whatever state you're in, all of the divine guidance supports and creates that state more. So if we are responding abundantly or feeling great, we're going to respond abundantly automatically. If we're feeling negative, we're going to respond negatively automatically. So we are going to respond negatively. Even if we feel that it's something very good that we said, it's going to have this negative essence basically woven into it. Okay. And then so our reality is going to respond in that way. We're going to react poorly. And then the stimulus of the negative behavior begins circling. And so, how does that make us feel? Bad. That's going to decrease our state, which also, though, because now we have a decreased state when it comes to communication, we lose communication. Communication goes down, right? It begins to decrease because we are assuming something negative on this. So the amount of communication we're going to receive is going to go down. And I gave this experience or this idea that really someone could be texted one day of the week and be getting more results and on a better path than someone who gets texted 6 out of 7 days of the week. And it all has to do with the labels that we're placing upon it because we are in control of this value, right? You are picking what value to place on this text message, to place on this call. And the more positive the value that we place on it, the better the feeling, the better the response, the better the behavior, and then it increases communication. I can't tell you how many times people are overlooking these small successes, and as soon as they focus on them, begin to create the life that they want. And also, you could be thinking as well, yeah, but okay, if I focus on me doing something bad, isn't that just going to create more bad behavior? But I got another quote that's going to go into why it's okay to be doing something not so good or kind of failing, because failing isn't bad. Doing something wrong isn't bad. Acting and being in a state isn't bad. But it's the recognition that's actually going to change ourselves, which changes our reality. Because Neville Goddard states, and I agree with this 100%. I know I keep bringing up Neville Goddard because everybody loves the Neville Goddard quotes. You can't get something from nothing. So you must give up your state in order to get exactly what you want. You can't remain in the same state, the same feeling, the same emotions, assumptions, beliefs, and expect something different begin to happen. So the quote is, the initial corrective procedure is to recognize temporarily that there is a problem. So seeing, okay, maybe I'm not reacting, maybe I'm not putting the value on this that I want, but only as an indication that immediate correction is needed. So it's okay to look at this. It's okay if in the past you were putting a less than positive value. Now we know, and now we can create a better outcome based on it. And just to throw in, I like this quote a lot. So when you miscreate, so when you're mismanifesting, when you're experiencing things and manifesting stuff you don't want, right, by focusing on the negative, when you miscreate, you are in pain. And I would say that, right? So we only miscreate when we are in pain, which is not our natural response. So even if you just go back, take a step back, literally do nothing. Like you could do nothing, and naturally your reality is going to create an abundant outcome for you. Because naturally we are abundance, we are positivity, and we are love. You are abundance, you are positivity, you are love. I cannot stress that enough. So whenever we're just miscreating or causing a reality we don't want, it just means we're in pain. And I want you to think back to any situation that did make you feel that way. We were in some sort of painful scenario. That's okay, okay? Because again, temporarily looking at this problem to then create and switch it to then have the solution. So I want you guys to think about that because again, you're manifesting for Valentine's Day, okay? So you need to know how positive and how abundant and how miraculous, how good you're doing right now. Because I guarantee you're doing fantastic. It's just that we may not be seeing it based on the process of the gap or the process of the gain, right? The gap, we're totally missing it because again, we're comparing the success to the ideal or the goal. But the bridge of events takes place. And I don't want to hear anything about, I'm not accepting breadcrumbs though. According to Neville Goddard, you can't get the loaf of bread until we receive the breadcrumbs. Like the breadcrumbs always lead to the bread. Now, maybe really fast. I'll tell you, time has nothing to do with breadcrumbs and getting your loaf of bread, right? It has absolutely nothing to do with that. It can happen really fast. It's just going to happen in a way that feels natural for you. So as soon as we focus on the gain, you're going to see an exponential increase in literally everything. Like I can't tell you how the feeling comes first. the feeling always, always comes first. So how you are presenting, labeling, or what was the word? Placing meaning on your reality. That's causing your feeling, which is causing your reaction, which causes your entire assumption and state to change. So maybe even look at your reality and ask yourself, is there certain things that I'm kind of certain labels, certain assumptions, certain meanings I'm placing upon my reality that I don't necessarily want? And how can I kind of change that? Because again, it's okay. It's okay if we were acting that way because we can, again, you're manifesting for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day hasn't come yet. So you have all the time in the world to get into that state right here and right now. And I'm going to help you do that. And to give a little bit of, and it's funny because I actually didn't plan this, but today in my members section, I posted a community post I was like, everybody just comment your successes. Let's get this abundance going. And you guys commented so many things. And I kind of wanted to share some of those just to show you the difference of how success can work and just how quickly it can happen. Because I only started my members like a couple weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, right? That we started doing this and everybody started kind of getting into it. And again, most people haven't even been in there that long. I don't know, if you're an OG member, YouTube member from the Manifestation Squad, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But people weren't even in there that long. And when I was looking at these successes, I was absolutely blown away because everybody has so much success that they're not even thinking about. But I wanted to just talk about, not even talk about, just going to just put up a few because it's literally a few of a lot. Like I tried to pick ones that kind of are all across the board of like this and that basic. Okay, so I'll tell you guys. So the first one, it says, I do feel like I'm changed as a person as a result of your methods. I do not spiral so much anymore. So that's a success, right? Changing, getting into the feeling, no longer spiraling. Think about that. That's the first step to changing an assumption, right? No longer spiraling. The next one, last week, she texted me a couple times out of the blue. SP just texted them randomly out of the blue. That's awesome, right? Bridge of events. The next one, specific person posted a caption saying she loves everything about me and even posted a picture with my jacket I gave her with the love song playing. I love that, right? Also an awesome bridge of events. But think about how in any of these you could be in the gap and be like, yeah, whatever though. She says loves everything about you. Yeah, but are you married? No, that's just a negative assumption. These are all fantastic and these are perfect. These are the perfect bridge of events, and every single one of these people are going to be with their specific person for Valentine's Day. The next one, this one's really, really cool too. I've gone from being blocked by my specific person to being able to text and call her. Awesome. That's perfect. The next one, I keep seeing signs from numbers like 111, 222, 444. That's a perfect alignment and just as much as a success as any of these other ones. So if you're seeing numbers, if you're seeing your specific person's car, their name, things like that, people keep talking to them, that means your brain is aligning more with the outcome you want. The next one, I keep having dreams about her and my internal conversations are always positive. Think about the assumptions you have to create such positive, amazing assumptions in your inner conversations. That is such amazing growth and is such an amazing success. And then the last one, again, of many, like if you guys are members, go through and read those. I feel like that's like a perfect success book journal to kind of look at anytime you're feeling down and be like, look at all the love that's around me. So last one I wanted to include, because I could keep talking forever. They said, last week, specific person told me he loved me for the first time. I absolutely love that. But really, again, all of these are fantastic and just as much as a success as any other one, because when you are exhibiting, when you're feeling into the state, you're going to realize everything you could ever want is within you right here and right now. There is no separation from who you think you are and your end state. Everything is perfect. And I want you to always, always keep that in mind. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. So again, this is part 2 of a 3-part series of 3 things to know to manifest your specific person by Valentine's Day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, leave a thumbs up on this video. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. If you did have any questions, comments, ideas, anything like that, leave them down below. Give a like on this. Give a like and subscribe if you know for a fact that you are manifesting for Valentine's Day. If you did want to send me a personal question, make sure to head over to kyleaugustcoaching.com. That's where you can reach me personally. Send me any thoughts, ideas, questions, worries. I want to hear absolutely all of them because I want to help you every single step of the way. For my members, I'll be seeing you guys. Every day I'm putting out meditations, so definitely check those out. I think I'm going to put some meditations on my main channel for everyone because I think everyone was absolutely loving those. And on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, remember, members, we are getting into the state. We are vibing, we're talking, and Valentine's Day is coming up, so make sure you do not miss it. Again, 1 p.m. Sunday Eastern Time. We're going to be meeting for an hour. Think of it as a coaching session between us. I love them. Hopefully, again, look at all these successes. They are fantastic. Thanks again so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video with the third thing to manifest by Valentine's Day tomorrow.